Title: Snow White and the Seven Kind Dwarfs. Once upon a time, in a beautiful kingdom surrounded by lush forests and towering mountains, there lived a young princess named Snow White. She was known throughout the land for her stunning beauty, but what made her truly special was her kind and gentle heart. Snow White's stepmother, the queen, was envious of her beauty. She would often stand in front of her magical mirror and ask, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" For many years, the mirror always answered, "You, my queen, are the fairest of all." But as Snow White grew older, her beauty surpassed even that of the queen. One day, the mirror replied, "Snow White, with her heart so pure, is now the fairest for sure." Enraged by this news, the jealous queen ordered her huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and ensure she never returned. However, the huntsman, who loved Snow White dearly, couldn't bear to harm her. Instead, he let her go and told her to hide deep in the woods. Alone in the forest, Snow White stumbled upon a small cottage that looked as though it belonged to 7 tiny people. The cottage was tidy and well kept, but there was no one inside. Snow White decided to wait for the owners to return. She cleaned the house, made a delicious meal, and even sang a sweet lullaby. Little did she know that the cottage belonged to 7 kind-hearted dwarfs who worked in the nearby mines. When the dwarfs returned home, they were surprised to find Snow White. She told them her story, and they welcomed her with open arms, happy to have such a caring friend to share their home. Meanwhile, the queen, furious at the huntsman's betrayal, decided to take matters into her own hands. She used her dark magic to transform into an old hag and create a poisoned apple. With the apple in hand, she ventured into the forest, searching for Snow White. The queen found Snow White and offered her the poisoned apple, disguised as a kind old woman. Snow White, being kind-hearted and trusting, accepted the gift. As she took a bite of the poisoned apple, Snow White fell into a deep slumber. The dwarfs were heartbroken when they found her lifeless. They laid her in a glass coffin and placed it in the forest. Word of Snow White's beauty and tragic fate spread throughout the kingdom. One day, a prince passing through the forest saw the sleeping princess. He was captivated by her beauty and leaned in to kiss her. The moment their lips met, the curse was broken, and Snow White woke up. The prince introduced himself, and Snow White smiled warmly. They returned to the castle, where Snow White was reunited with her father, the king, and lived happily ever after. The queen's envy and cruelty led to her downfall, while Snow White's kindness and the love of the 7 dwarfs brought her a life filled with happiness and love. And they all lived happily ever after in a kingdom where kindness and love ruled above all else.